Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. You're rummaging through a jar of loose change you've had sitting around for years, and bam, you find a penny. But not just any penny. A 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark. Now, before you dismiss it and toss it back into your jar, hold on tight. Because this little penny, my friends, could be worth up to $1.3 million. Yep, you heard me right. $1.3 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. I must have missed something. Well, don't worry, because today, we're going to break down what makes this coin so special and how you might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket. So, if you've got a penny from 2009 and you're feeling lucky, this video is for you. Let's start with the basics. The 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny, produced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth, was minted in 4 different designs, each representing a significant moment in his life. You've probably seen these pennies. They have the standard "In God We Trust" on one side, but the reverse side is where the magic happens. Now, here's the twist. Normally, every penny has a mint mark, either an S for San Francisco, a D for Denver, or a P for Philadelphia. But, and this is important, the 2009 pennies produced in Philadelphia didn't have any mint mark. Now, you'd think a penny with no mint mark wouldn't be a big deal, right? Well, that's where the rarity comes into play. In 2009, the U.S. Mint stopped putting mint marks on certain coins because of the global financial crisis. They wanted to save money by not minting as many coins. As a result, some 2009 Lincoln pennies were produced without mint marks, making them harder to find. So, if you've got one of these mint markless coins in your collection, congratulations. You might just be holding on to something incredibly valuable. But why is it worth so much? There weren't many of these coins minted without a mint mark, so they're extremely rare. The fewer of something there is, the more it's worth. And while it may seem like just a penny, in the right condition, it can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. That I had a personal experience with this whole idea of unexpected coin values. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer when I came across a 2009 penny. Nothing special about it, right? But something about it caught my eye. It was a 2009 Philadelphia penny, no mint mark. I didn't think much of it, but I decided to do a quick search online to see if it was worth anything. When I saw that these coins were going for thousands of dollars in mint condition, my jaw hit the floor. Turns out, that little penny was worth way more than I had imagined. Now, I'm not saying mine was worth $1.3 million, but the point is, never underestimate the value of something that seems insignificant. So, how do you know if your 2009 penny could be worth a fortune? Well, there are a few factors to consider. The condition of the coin is key. You want to check if it's in pristine condition, meaning no scratches, discoloration, or wear. A coin that's been kept in a safe place, like a coin sleeve or a protective holder, is your best bet. The rarer and more well-preserved, the higher the value. So, next time you're out and about, and you spot a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. Take a second to check the year, the mint mark, and the condition. You might just find yourself holding onto a small fortune. And remember, the 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny, without a mint mark, could be worth a lot more than you think. Who knew that tiny coin could lead to such big things? If you want to keep learning about hidden treasures in your coin collection, tips for finding rare coins, and the strategies that can help you turn your change into cash, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing you more content like this, and who knows, maybe we'll both get lucky and find something worth $1 million. Let's talk about something that's pretty rare but could also make you very rich. You've probably heard of the 1975 Abraham Lincoln penny, but did you know that one of these little guys could be worth a whopping $1.9 million? Yup, you heard that right, a penny, worth millions. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up because we're diving into the world of rare pennies, and this one is a serious treasure. Now, before you start digging through your change jar, let's break this down so you know exactly what you're looking for and why this penny is worth more than the average gold bar. Alright, so here's the deal. Most of us are used to tossing pennies in the jar, or even worse, just letting them sit at the bottom of our pockets until they start to look like little chunks of dirt. But the 1975 Abraham Lincoln penny? Not your typical penny. So, why is it worth $1.9 million? Well, this penny is part of a pretty unique mistake. In 1975, some pennies were struck without a mint mark. Now, if you know anything about coins, you know that mint marks tell you where a coin was made: Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. These little marks are typically located on the front, right under the date. But in this case, the 1975 penny had no mint mark at all. Most of the pennies produced that year had a mint mark, but a small batch of them didn't. And because there were so few of them, collectors went absolutely wild when they started popping up. Imagine it like finding a rare Pokemon in your backyard. A moment that you want to tell all your friends about, but also hide from them so you can cash in. So, what makes this penny so valuable? Well, for one, it's incredibly rare. We're talking only a handful of them ever being made, and because the mint didn't keep track of them, no one really knows exactly how many are out there. That mystery is part of what makes it so appealing to collectors. I actually had a similar experience when I was younger. I remember when I found a quarter from the 1960s in my grandfather's old collection. Now, it wasn't worth nearly as much as this 1975 penny, but I thought I had found the Holy Grail. I didn't realize until years later it was just a regular quarter. So, I get it, that excitement when you think you've found something valuable is real. But trust me, if you find a 1975 penny without a mint mark, you'll definitely want to hang on to it. How do you tell if your penny is the real deal? The first step is to check the mint mark, or, more accurately, the lack of it. If it's missing, congratulations, you've got a potential gold mine on your hands. But wait, there's more. You need to make sure it's in good condition. A penny that's been sitting at the bottom of your car's cup holder for years isn't going to fetch anywhere near that $1.9 million. Condition matters. The more pristine, the higher the value. If you think you've found a mint condition 1975 penny without a mint mark, don't go tossing it around. Keep it safe. Coins like these should be stored carefully, away from dirt, moisture, or handling that could ruin their value. So, there you have it. A 1975 penny with no mint mark could be sitting right under your nose, and it might be worth more than your car. Of course, not every 1975 penny is a $1 million find, but if you stumble upon one of these rarities, you could be looking at a seriously valuable collector's item. Now, I want you to imagine this for a second. You're at home, sorting through your coins, and bam, you find a 1975 penny without a mint mark. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you start envisioning your future yacht. Okay, maybe not a yacht, but you get the idea. Before you get too carried away, though, remember that value depends on the coin's condition, rarity, and demand. But hey, it's worth checking. Who knows, maybe you're just one penny away from becoming the next big coin collector. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins, strategies for collecting, and insider info on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. You're digging through a jar of old pennies you found in your grandmother's attic. You know, the usual. And then, bam, you stumble upon a 1971 penny with no mint mark. And guess what? That penny could be worth a whopping $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $2 million. Now, before you start checking your couch cushions and grandma's coin collection, let's break down what makes this penny so special and how you can spot it. Trust me, after this video, you'll be the most popular person at your next family gathering. Everyone will want you to check their change. Alright, so let's talk about this 1971 penny with no mint mark. First things first, we need to understand how coins are made. Normally, the US Mint marks a coin with a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco, indicating where it was made. But in 1971, for some mysterious reason, a small batch of pennies was struck without a mint mark. No one really knows why, but it happened. So, what does that mean for you, the lucky person who finds this rare coin? Well, for starters, it's all about rarity. The reason this 1971 penny is so valuable is that it's incredibly rare. Out of the billions of pennies produced that year, only a tiny fraction had no mint mark. And to make matters even juicier, the condition of the coin is everything. If you find one of these elusive pennies and it's in mint condition, meaning it's practically flawless, you could be sitting on a small fortune. In fact, the highest known sale for a 1971 no mint mark penny reached around $2 million. Yes, you heard me, $2 million for a penny. You might want to go back and check that old jar you've been using as a paperweight. That shiny penny might just be your ticket to an early retirement. But hold your horses, don't start celebrating just yet. Not all 1971 no-mint mark pennies are worth millions. It's all about the condition and the specific rarity. If your penny is tarnished or scratched, it won't fetch that kind of price. But hey, even if it's worth a few $100s, that's still pretty sweet for a penny that's just been collecting dust in your drawer. Now, here's a quick tip for you. If you think you've found one of these rare pennies, make sure you get it professionally graded. A coin's grade can make all the difference in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the higher the value. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1971 no-mint mark penny in great condition, it's worth getting a second opinion from an expert. Trust me, it'll be worth it when you see how much it could be worth. Here's a personal story. A couple of years ago, I found a bunch of old pennies in my parents' attic. Things had been gathering dust up there since the 70s. Nothing fancy, just a pile of old coins. But there was one penny that didn't quite look like the others. It looked different. I didn't know much about rare coins back then, but I was curious, so I took it to a coin shop. Turns out, it wasn't the exact penny I thought it was. But that experience sparked my obsession with coin hunting. From that moment on, I started checking every coin I came across. And while I haven't hit the jackpot yet, I've learned so much about coin values. And that penny hunt opened my eyes to a whole new world of potential treasures. Moral of the story: you never know what you're going to find, so it's always worth checking. So, if you've got a 1971 penny in your possession, or even better, a 1971 no-mint mark penny, don't just toss it into the jar with all the other loose change. Give it a good look, check for any signs of a mint mark, and inspect its condition. And who knows, maybe your next penny will make you a fortune. If you found this video helpful and you want to stay on top of the latest coin discoveries, tips, and tricks, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on more ways to turn your spare change into real cash. I've got a ton more content coming your way, and I promise it'll be worth your while. What if I told you that a coin, no bigger than a penny, could make you richer than you ever imagined? Yep, I'm talking about the 1964 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy has turned into a rare gem that's worth, wait for it, $2.1 million. That's right, $2.1 million. So, what's the deal with this penny, and why is it worth so much? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just find your own hidden fortune in your coin jar. Let's dive into it. Alright, let's set the stage. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? I mean, it's just one of those pennies you probably toss into the change jar at the end of the day, or maybe find rolling around in the back seat of your car. But here's the kicker: this coin is anything but ordinary. In fact, one particular 1964 D penny recently sold for $2.1 million. No, I'm not messing with you. That's actually the market value of this rare find. So, what makes it so special? First off, let's talk about the mint mark. The D on this penny stands for the Denver Mint, where the coin was produced. In 1964, the US was cranking out pennies like there was no tomorrow, but somehow, a few rare ones slipped through the cracks. Some of the 1964 D pennies ended up with a small mistake, a little something called a double die, which means the image on the coin is slightly doubled. This happened because of a minting error, and it's so subtle that you almost have to squint to see it. But why is that worth $2.1 million bucks? Well, here's the thing. Most of these pennies didn't have that error. It's a true case of limited edition in the coin world. Imagine a famous artist messing up a painting and then saying, "You know what? Let's just make a few more like this and sell them as one-of-a-kind works of art." Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. Only a handful of these 1964 D pennies with the double die error exist, and that's what makes them so valuable. But hold on. Don't go rushing to your couch cushions just yet. Finding one of these pennies is like finding a needle in a haystack. As much as we'd all love to discover a $2.1 million penny sitting in our old coin jar, the odds are slim. There are only a few known to exist, and the condition of the coin matters big time. The one that sold for $2.1 million was in mint condition, almost as if it had never seen the light of day. So, while it's cool to dream about finding one of these rare pennies, Keep in mind that not every 1960 penny is a gold mine. Speaking of which, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was going through some old change I had sitting around. Pennies, nickels, dimes, the usual. When I thought, hey, I might have a gem in here. After sorting through them like a coin detective, I found a 1960 penny. My heart skipped a beat. I stared at it, examining it like it was some sort of lost treasure. But after a few minutes of intense squinting and analyzing, I realized it didn't have the double die error. So, back into the jar it went. No $1 million windfall for me that day. But hey, that doesn't mean you can't strike gold yourself. If you've got a 1960 penny hanging around, there are a couple of things you can do. First, inspect it closely. Look for the doubling on the date or the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust. It's a subtle mistake, but it can make all the difference. If you think you've got one, take it to a professional to get it appraised. Because let's face it, if it's worth a small fortune, you'll want to know for sure. So, what have we learned today? The 1964 Abraham Lincoln penny with the double die error is one heck of a rare find that could make you a millionaire. But don't get too excited just yet. Keep your eyes peeled. Check your change jar, and who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. But even if you don't strike it rich with this one, there are plenty of other coins out there that might be worth more than you think. If you enjoyed this little treasure hunt of a video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the coin collecting crew. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way that could help you turn pocket change into serious cash. Do you have a 1962 penny with a D mint mark just hanging around in your pocket, drawer, or piggy bank? If so, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might just make you take a second look at that tiny copper coin. That humble little penny might be worth a lot more than you think, like millions of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. I'm talking about a coin with a 1962 D mint mark that's worth as much as $2.2 million today. I know it sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, but it's very real. So, let's dive in and see how this little coin became such a big deal. First, let me paint the picture for you. It's 1962. The world is buzzing with excitement over rock and roll. JFK is in office, and the classic Lincoln penny is still as common as ever. But this particular penny, this D mint mark variety, turned out to be not so ordinary. Why? Well, there was an unexpected error in production that makes these pennies something to hold on to. You see, back in the day, there were two main mints producing coins for circulation, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The mint mark D stands for Denver, where they struck these pennies. But in 1962, something went a little off script. The Denver Mint was supposed to strike regular, everyday pennies, but instead, some of the coins were made with a rare error. These pennies were supposed to be produced with a specific design, but there was a mix-up, and the end result was an extremely rare variety of Lincoln pennies. Now, just one of these 1962 D mint mark pennies, yes, just one, was sold at auction for a whopping $2.2 million. Can you imagine? A single penny. Talk about finding gold at the bottom of a pocket. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth millions? Well, here's where things get a little tricky. First, not every 1962 penny with a D mint mark is worth a fortune. The coin in question is a special error variety, and these don't just grow on trees or in coin jars. You'll need to be looking for a particular set of characteristics, like the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and of course, finding it in a pristine state. Coins in mint condition, especially ones that have been carefully preserved over the years, can fetch a hefty price. Coins that are damaged, worn out, or heavily circulated won't give you much more than the penny's face value. I actually had a penny I thought was worth something once. I found it in an old shoebox, and I was convinced it was some rare misprint or an ancient artifact. I held on to it for years, only to finally get it appraised and find out it was worth a solid 2 cents. Yeah, not quite the treasure I had imagined. But the point is, you never really know what might be lurking in your collection of coins until you take a closer look. So, let's talk about the actual value of these 1962 D pennies. While most will go for around a few cents, there's that special handful that have been auctioned off for over $1 million. It's crazy, right? Coin collectors, investors, and numismatists have their eyes peeled for these rare gems. And when one turns up in excellent condition, it's an absolute bidding war at auctions. The good news is, there are still some 1962 pennies out there that could be hiding a fortune if you take the time to check. But I'm not saying you should start hoarding every 1962 penny you find. Most of them won't even be close to the $1 million mark, so don't quit your day job just yet. Still, it's a reminder that the value of coins can be unpredictable. A little research, some careful inspection, and knowing what to look for can make a world of difference. Now, you might be thinking, all right, how do I even start looking for these $1 million pennies? Well, folks, here's the deal. Keeping your eyes peeled is the first step. And I'm here to help guide you on this journey of coin collecting and finding hidden treasures. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins, strategies for collecting, or how to get your coins appraised without getting scammed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and join the crew that I promise there's so much more to discover in the world of coins, and who knows? Your next pocket change might just be worth a small fortune. So, subscribe, stay tuned for more tips, and keep on searching. Who knows? The next 1962 D penny might just be in your pocket. Did you know that a tiny penny, one of the most common coins in your change jar, could be worth more than your car? Yes, seriously. I'm talking about the 1960 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy isn't just some old copper. It's a potential gold mine. And no, I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about a coin that's currently worth a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, million with an M. So if you've got one of these lying around, maybe it's time to check your pockets again. Let's dive into what makes this coin so special and how you can potentially turn your loose change into a small fortune. First things first, let's break down what makes the 1960 D mint mark penny so special. This coin was minted in Denver in 1960, and it's pretty standard in terms of design. The front features Abraham Lincoln, and the back has the classic wheat ears design. Nothing unusual there, right? But here's the catch. There's a specific error on some of these coins that makes them incredibly rare and valuable. In 1960, the U.S. Mint struck a batch of pennies with what's known as a double die error. This means the coin was stamped twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on certain letters and numbers. The most noticeable doubling is on the date, with the 9 and the 6 appearing to have extra outlines. It's subtle, but if you catch it, you're looking at a treasure worth more than your monthly grocery bill. Now, you might be thinking, how can I tell if I've got one of these rarities? Good question. First, check for the D mint mark. That D tells you it was minted in Denver. But not all 1960 D pennies are worth a fortune. Only the ones with the double die error. So, take a good look at the date. If you notice that doubling effect, you've probably got a coin that could be worth thousands or even millions. Here's where it gets interesting. A 1960 D penny with the double die error has sold for as much as $2.3 million at auction. Can you imagine that? A penny, a simple little coin, worth a house, a car, or maybe even your own island. I mean, forget about the lottery. I think I'd rather find one of these. Now, let's talk about how to go about checking your pennies. You don't need a magnifying glass from a secret spy agency, but it helps to have something like a jeweler's loupe or a good set of reading glasses. Look at the 9 and 6 in the date and check for any doubling. If you see the error, you've got a coin that could change your life, or at least your financial outlook. I remember a time when I was going through some old coins I'd found in a box in my attic. You know, the kind of coins that are just taking up space, gathering dust. One day, I thought, what the heck? I'll check them out. So, I started flipping through my old pennies, and there was this one 1960 D I thought looked kind of odd. It didn't have the doubling on the date or anything, but I still took a closer look because, well, who doesn't dream of finding hidden treasure? Turns out it wasn't the $2.3 million penny I was hoping for, if only. But I did find some other cool coins that were worth more than I expected. I didn't get a fortune, but the hunt was still exciting. So, if you've got a bunch of old pennies sitting around, take a second to check them out. It could be your lucky day. The 1960 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error is rare, valuable, and could be worth a fortune if you find one. You might not strike it rich overnight, but taking a closer look at your old pennies could lead to a jackpot you didn't expect. Remember, coin collecting isn't just for the wealthy. It's about finding the value in things that most people overlook. Before you rush to check your penny jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and strategies on finding coins worth money. You never know when you might stumble upon your own hidden treasure, and I'll be here to help you spot it. Stay tuned for more coin tips, and who knows, maybe next time I'll be telling you about another coin worth millions. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket, just a regular old coin, and thought, what if this is worth something? Well, grab your magnifying glass because today, we're diving into a penny that could be worth more than a small house, or even a luxury car. I'm talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You heard that right, folks. A penny, but not just any penny. This little guy has some serious value, and the current market value is a staggering $2.4 million. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking every coin in your collection to make sure you're not sitting on a gold mine. Let's start with the basics. You probably have a ton of pennies in your jar, and most of them are worth, well, 1 cent. But what if I told you that there's one specific penny from 1991 that could be worth a small fortune? Here's the deal. There's a rare error with the 1991 Lincoln penny that could make it worth up to $2.4 million today. Yeah, I know that's mind-blowing, right? Now, if you're wondering how a penny could ever reach that amount, let me break it down for you. Every penny minted in the US typically has a mint mark, which tells you where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1991, some of the pennies were minted without a mint mark at all. These error coins, with no mint mark, became incredibly rare, and rare coins are, of course, what collectors go nuts for. So, why is this penny so valuable? Well, in 1991, the US Mint was doing a routine changeover, and somehow, a batch of pennies didn't get the usual mint mark. The result? A super rare error coin, and we all know what rare things are worth, especially when it comes to collectors and history buffs. The value of this penny isn't just based on the mistake, it's also about the condition. If you find one of these bad boys in mint condition, you could be looking at a small fortune. One of these 1991 no-mint mark pennies was sold for $2.4 million in an auction not too long ago. That's a lot of money for a penny. You could probably buy a mansion in some parts of the country with that kind of cash. Now, here's where I get a little personal. A few years ago, I was cleaning out some old change I had stashed away in a drawer, and I came across a penny from 1991. I didn't think much of it, and it went straight into the jar with all my other loose coins. I had no idea that little penny could be worth anything more than a handful of pocket lint, but as luck would have it, I didn't have the no-mint mark version. I had one of the regular ones. Not quite as exciting, but hey, at least I still have it. But for a second, I thought maybe I had hit the jackpot. So, moral of the story, always check your coins before you toss them in the jar. You never know what hidden treasures you might have lying around. How the heck do I tell if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, good news. It's pretty simple to check. First, take a look at your penny and see if it has a mint mark. If you don't see one, that's the first clue. But don't get too excited just yet. Make sure it's a 1991 penny, not 1990 or 1992. And don't forget to check the condition. The better the condition, the more money you can potentially make from it.so. There you have it, the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It might seem like just another coin in your collection, but if you have the rare, unmarked version, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Remember, coins like this can go for millions if they're in the right condition and the right market. So, next time you dig through your coin jar, take a closer look. You might just find a hidden gem that could change your life. And hey, if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more coin tips, strategies, and stories. I'll be back with more ways for you to spot coins worth big money and maximize your collection. You ever find yourself flipping through old pennies, thinking, what if one of these could make me a millionaire? Well, hold on to your change jars, because I've got a real jaw-dropper for you today. I'm talking about the elusive 1989 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that little copper coin that could be worth a whopping $2.5 million. I know, it sounds like something out of a coin collector's fever dream, but trust me, this penny is a serious gold mine. So, if you've got a jar of pennies sitting around, or maybe even a few tucked away in your sock drawer, we've all got one of those, right? You might want to listen up, because today, I'm diving deep into why this particular penny could make your wallet way heavier than you ever imagined. Stick with me, this is going to be fun and maybe even a little life-changing. Alright, let's break this down. The 1989 no mint mark penny. What's the deal with it, right? Well, here's the thing. Most pennies from 1989 have a mint mark on them, which is that tiny little D or S that tells you where the coin was made. But for a rare few, that mint mark is missing. And guess what? When that happens, boom, you've got yourself a potentially very valuable coin on your hands. Now, you might be thinking, but why is a missing mint mark such a big deal? Great question. Normally, coins with no mint mark are rarer because they were not supposed to exist in the first place. They were, in a sense, mistakes. And in the world of coins, mistakes are valuable. Like when you spill coffee on your shirt and it leaves an accidental art piece. Except, this time, the art piece could make you millions. You see, the mint was supposed to stamp all 1989 pennies with a mint mark, but somehow, a batch of them slipped through the cracks, leaving us with these incredibly rare, no mint mark coins. The story of how they ended up in circulation is a little murky, but we do know that only a small number of these pennies exist, and that's what makes them so special. Okay, now, I'm not just talking about a couple $100 here. No, we're talking about $2.5 million. That's right, 2.5 million. I mean, for the price of a cup of coffee, you could own a penny worth more than a mansion. Pretty wild, right? But here's the kicker. It's not enough to just have any old 1989 penny. This is where the collector's market gets a bit, well, complicated. You see, for the coin to be worth that jaw-dropping amount, it has to be in pristine condition. We're talking about mint condition. No scratches, no wear, no accidental coffee stains. Unless those stains were put there intentionally by a very dedicated artist. I actually have a funny story about this. A few years ago, I found a bunch of pennies in an old tin can while cleaning out my garage. I thought, what the heck? Let me see if any of these could be worth something. I pulled out a 1989 penny and squinted at it. No mint mark? No way. I could barely read the date because the penny was so beat up. I even joked to my friend, hey, if this turns out to be worth $1 million, I'm buying us a yacht. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. The penny was too worn out. Still, it was a fun thought. But the real kicker is that a properly graded 1989 no mint mark penny could make you feel like $1 million. Maybe even 2.5 million or so. How do you know if your penny's the real deal? Well, you'll need to get it checked out by a professional grader. This is someone who knows their stuff and will tell you if your coin has a shot at the big leagues or if it's just an everyday penny. They'll look at things like the condition of the coin, any unique features, and most importantly, they'll confirm whether it's one of those rare 1989 no mint mark beauties. Let's be clear, though. While the 1989 no mint mark penny can be worth 2.5 million, most of us probably won't find one. But don't let that stop you from checking through your pennies. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. So, if you're out there digging through your pennies and you find a 1989 no mint mark, remember, that could be your ticket to a small fortune. Or, at the very least, it might give you a reason to start checking out all those old coins lying around. But here's the thing. Whether or not you find that $1 million penny, learning about coins and understanding their value is a pretty exciting journey. And hey, who knows? Maybe the next coin you come across will be the one that sets you up for life. If you want more tips on finding coins worth money, strategies for building a collection, or just want to stay in the loop about all things coins, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Let's keep hunting for treasure together.